More so because we're a digital agency, and for this particular client, which you're seeing a presentation behind you, we do all of their web work. They're based over in the Middle East, and we've progressively been doing more and more tenders for them. This bad boy is 400 pages, split over 8 books. So when this request came in, and it was for a particularly large tender, which hopefully is blurred out enough because it's just going through at the moment, I phoned up the creative services team and said, look, we've got 400 pages. If we were to do this, just standard, and our team is pretty predominantly set up as a digital team. So, we need a bit of help in this space, particularly on this project. I'd seen this box before, which had got the sort of the slots in it. So I phoned up the guys here at the creative services team and said, right, it's 400 pages. What would you recommend us doing? The client's logo has this arc in it, so we did this sketch, and you saw some sketches in the presentation earlier. They were nowhere near as good as that. They were really just an idea that we had. We knew we couldn't put 400 pages in one tender. It would be like a Yellow Pages. So the guys in the creative services team said, well, how about splitting it out into the different sections? We knew there was like 8 chapters of it, and we didn't know how big each of the chapters were going to be until like a week before. This was turned around super quick. So the process really from a customer's side was to speak to these guys, them come back and say, we could do something like this. We then suggested that to a client, and we knew the client needed to do this, so there was a commitment from our side that we were going to have to print it somehow. Not only that, but we needed to get it to Qatar as well, 3 of these boxes. So we basically got back the templates, and then a mock-up, and it was really working. I was getting, because I was travelling at the time, and I was getting back photos on the phone. Can you have a look at this? Is this kind of what you're looking at? And it was that process of me saying, oh no, that's not quite what I was thinking. And from a budgetary, we didn't know we knew we needed this make look super cool with as much thrown at it as possible, but we weren't sure from a budgetary standpoint what we could afford. So it was a back and forth. If you do this, it's going to add that much. It would have been lovely to have a video on the top as well, like some of these. They're awesome, but we couldn't because we couldn't afford it. So it was all of the details of just understanding how this box would be cut, so as you could see all the books. We hadn't thought of that. We really didn't know the best way to do it, and even this this was a recommendation from the creative services team. So if we did it like this, why don't you move the artwork up so as when you're looking down at the box you can read all the chapters. Then we were thinking about materials, and I hadn't thought of doing it in cloth that matches the the client's logo colours, pretty much down to the Pantone, which was a massive bonus for us as well. I wasn't aware that you could actually do the Skodex on top of cloth as well, which was a really nice effect. And then making sure that it was packaged. So not only did we need some help on that. We're based in Bournemouth. The client had one of their team over in London from Qatar, and we had to, or not we, they had to go and buy a suitcase that it would fit into, bubble wrap it up to the max so as it wouldn't get damaged in transit, and then deliver it to a hotel at Heathrow. So for us, all I got back was an email from the general manager from the holding company in Dubai, just saying, wow. It was super awesome. I happen to know as well that they're through to the next stage, and it's pretty impressive. There was the other complicated bit, just to throw a bit more of a boomerang in, was they needed, bizarrely, 2 in colour and 1 in black and white. So they managed to match the sort of the shades, so as actually the black and white version was completely monochrome. And we didn't have to supply any more artwork for that, which for us was a massive bonus. So I guess from a client's experience of how do you get to that, we did some doodles, and that was pretty much it. they sent back some better doodles and then a cardboard version they took a picture on the phone, get it over to the client with a budget, and then we got the commitment from the client at that point, and we pressed go. Then we got the templates back so we could design it, the actual box. In the meantime, we had plenty to do with the 400 pages and 8 books within a very short period of time that was ever-changing, as the clients do. So those are all digitally printed whilst they're building the box. So that was my experience of producing something that we made sure we've taken pictures of because they all want one now. So that's my experience from working with the client. And obviously for us then, this is something that, you know, there's a fair amount of revenue if we can create a team that's going to be doing all of these tender documents. And to put it in perspective, before we started doing this, they were just doing them in Word. So they were looking pretty crap. And now, we now have the contract to provide all of their tenders across 3 different regions. So it worked for us. And they're stunning. You know, that's a nice pitch. And some of these other ones that inspired that, the sort of automated videos, certainly come and have a look at afterwards, because they're brilliant, you know. And I wasn't aware of all of this stuff that had gone into it. They just sort of made that happen.
Okay, thank you. Jamie?
Thank you.